Reverend Mary Tororeiy, previously the Canon to the Bishop of Eldoret, Kenya, and now a doctoral theology student at the Lutheran School of Theology in Chicago, was the guest speaker at St. Mark's Episcopal Church Harambe dinner on March 27, 2011. Her topic was The Children of Kenya. St. Mark's Rector, Reverend James B. Cook, and the congregation there work with the local Kenya parish of St. James to provide needy families in Western Kenya with scholarships for children, micro-lending opportunities, and seeds for family farms.
This morning when we were setting up this place, and I didn't say this to anybody, but I sat here and saw everybody running around, getting a chair, putting the flowers, fixing everything. I was so touched, and knowing why this was happening, I am so touched and with joy, and I could even lack words to say, to express the joy that I felt, because I knew this is being done because of love and compassion for children whom some of you or many of you have never met. But because of love and compassion, you sit here tonight to support this ministry that St. Mark's is involved in. What a joy, what a love. You are great people. And I just stand here to say thank you. In Kenya, we say asante. Please tell your neighbor, this is what we say in Kenya. Just tell your neighbor, asante.
Asante. Asante-san. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It just means thank you very much. Asante sana. For that heart, for that love. I come from a town called Eldoret, where some of you have come for the mission and ministry that is in St. James, Kabuson. Eldoret town is a small city that is growing up. It was the fastest growing city in Kenya until 2008, when we had political differences. After general elections, and those who were running for presidency were fighting each other because each one was claiming that they won. And so Eldoret, being in the Rift Valley, for those who are reading news or maybe watching BBC and so on and CNN, was badly hit. And so because of that, Eldoret has gone back like 10 years in matters of development and so on. But we are there. We are hoping to catch up again and continue to do God's ministry and God's work among God's people. Eldoret City is basically an agricultural city because the economy in Kenya is still agriculturally based. Besides tourism, the next economic activity that we have is agriculture. And so, being an agricultural city, it depends more specifically on what people do on the farms. When the rains are good, then we have a good harvest and people make money. But when the rains fail, or just the economy is bad, then things are bad for the city. But not just for the city, but for the people who depend on agriculture. The greatest challenge that happens with agriculture is the people who make it well in agriculture are the people who are actually wealthy, people who can cultivate huge farms of land and be able to grow wheat, because in Eldoret we grow wheat, we grow corn. And so the well-to-do people actually do well in agriculture, in an agricultural economy. But the people who are not able to cultivate huge chunks of land are the people who remain poor. And these are many people. people who are not able to send their children to school, people who are not able to access medical facilities. These are the people who will send their children instead of sending them to school. The options that are available is either the child goes to school and there is no food and there is no money to buy anything, or the children would go and work on another person's farm so that they get little money to buy food for that particular day. And so that is what happens, I guess. Maybe you could know if you grew up in an agricultural economy, but then that is what happens in an agricultural economy. It's the rich who continue to be rich, and those are very few in Kenya, especially in Eldoret, but the poor continue to be poor and serve the rich guys. Eldoret town is, we use the mode of transport is public transport. We have vehicles that carry passenger vehicles that are designed to carry like 14 people, but they will carry like 20, 25, and there is always a space for one, but that is risky, of course. Since I came on Thursday, whenever we are talking about how long will it take you to get to a certain place, and I always have to be very careful and say, on Kenyan roads, it will take you, because on American roads it's different. And so we call them matatu, and they're just for public transportation and so on. Let me shift a little bit and talk about children in Kenya. In 2002, if I remember very well, 2002, there was a child that he was number 2 in the national examinations. He had 495 out of 500. But this child did not have parents. His parents had died because he had lost his parents through HIV/AIDS. And so he lived with his grandmother. His grandmother was so old, I mean, she could not support him. So this child used to go and work during the weekends, on Saturday and Sunday, work in a farm, get paid. They would use that to eat, to get food. And then he would go to school on Monday to Friday, and sometimes would miss to go to school in order to be able to fend for his siblings and their grandmother. And so in 2002, this child had taken his exams in 2001, actually, in November. And so the results come out at the end of the year. And so Form 1 selection to go to secondary school is in February. And so when the results came out, he was announced the best in the Republic, the second best in the Republic. And he was admitted the best school in Kenya. But then after about 3 weeks, when people are preparing their children to go to school, this child did not have anywhere to go to. He couldn't go to school. And the touching thing about this child, he was ready to go to school. He didn't know how. And the media heard his story, and he was willing to sell one of his kidneys in order to go to school. But because of that story, a well-wisher took him up and paid for his fees. I'm sharing this because we are talking about our children in Kenya. Children in Kenya, I was sharing with the children at St. Mark's on Friday, they have dreams. They have visions. If you sit somewhere and listen to them as they play, they have names that they have given to each other. Names of great people in the society. One of my brothers was called our president who retired in 2002. 2002, yeah, was called Daniel Moy. One of my brothers is called by that name. It is not his name, but they give themselves those names because, and for me, it speaks of the visions, the dreams they have. I was sharing in Kenya, soccer is a thing. Everybody loves soccer. Children love soccer. And you'll find them playing, and they also have names of great soccer players. And in order to do that, to get to play and have fun as children and celebrate the gifts and the talents they have, they improvise a ball. This is made of polythene bags, yeah. Polythene paper that they collect, trash or rubbish or whatever is called polythene papers. They collect them, Sorry.
It's paper, it's plastic.
Plastic bags, yeah, sure. In Kenya we call them polythene bags. So they collect the plastic bags and put them together and tie them and make a ball. And this is what they would use to play. Don't try that at home. It's so heavy. It can, yeah. I am sharing that just to let you know that these are children who think, who have dreams, who have visions, but they don't go far. Those dreams are never, for most of them, those dreams are never achieved. Those visions are never achieved because their parents cannot pay for school fees, as our Father Cook said. When children go to secondary school, parents have to pay for the school fees. And so if the parents are not able, or the children are orphans, or the children are children of single mothers who cannot even support themselves, then they call education quits. It never happens. A few years ago, the government voted for free primary education so that every child can go to school. When the government voted for that, we all celebrated. And we were like, wow, we are great. We are becoming a great nation. But we didn't know what was going to happen. Because then the well-to-do families pulled their children from public schools and took them to the private schools. Then because they did that because in the public schools, a school that used to have a capacity of, say, 200 children exploded to 700, 800, and yet the government was not employing teachers. There are no books. So at the end of the day, children don't get the very education the government was claiming to give. because they don't have school uniform. And even if the government claims to give free primary education, they don't have school uniform, they don't have food. One time I was a chaplain in a school, and this child came in class she looked so weak, and it was very early in the morning. And she sat there, she wasn't concentrating. And I asked her, "Are you sick?" And she said, "No." And I said to her, "So what is wrong?" And she said, "We have not eaten. We didn't eat anything this morning. We didn't have food yesterday." And she could count the last time they ate. And what they ate was, her mother had gone to look for food and came home with a little cornmeal, and they made a sort of cornmeal, and they ate that, and that was it. And so, friends, I'm sharing this because you have a heart and the willingness. And I just wanted you to know, to understand. These pictures that are here represent the children for whom, by your compassion and giftedness, you have sent them to school. The children for whom, because of your giving, have brought a smiling face to their parents. And not only to their parents, to their children. That they smile because they have gone to school. That they come back home. And one mother once said to me, crying, she came to the office crying because we had received the money that you sent to us, and we paid school fees for them. And she was bringing the receipt from the school where the child is. And she couldn't stop crying. And she was crying for joy. And she said, "I am crying because I am happy and because I will be a somebody. Because my child has gone to school." And so, friends, these children will grow up to be the leaders of our community. What we try to do with these children, when they close school, we try as much as possible to also impart the spiritual aspect of life, so that as they are gifted in this way, in the way that you do, they are also balanced in life, so that when they are through with school, with college, they become dependable people, that they are parents, and they can also support their siblings. That is the goodness with African families, that if one survives the challenges, they come back and support the other siblings. And that is a strength. And so we are really grateful, very grateful for what you are doing, for the great heart that you have, for supporting a child you've never met, for supporting a child who will not pay you back. You know what I mean? They will not pay you back. They won't.